Okay, moving on to another question. This you addressed this just a little bit before, but let's talk about it. Do you have any suggestions regarding how to work on social skills for children learning online this year who will not be in a classroom with other kids? This is going to be part of the tough right now, and of course, there's a lot of people arguing what's most important right now. And it looks like a lot of schools are going to be going back to a hybrid method where if you really feel that you need to stay home, they'll allow you to. But that they're going to have some students come back to the classroom. And the big argument for why is socialization. So this is tough for our parents. But if you've made the decision to stay home, how can you not lose ground?
Okay, so it depends on what level of skill, but it's possible. It's, just having children of my own, I've watched my teenager, the way that she socializes is so different from when I was, when I was a teenager. She and her friends go on, they're going to go watch a movie together. One of them turns on the movie and all of them sit in a Zoom room and they share their screen and they all watch together.
I love that.
And they make comments to each other. And then sometimes they just all get on because they want to be together and they're all doing their own thing in their own rooms at home. But, and they'll be showing each other things that they're doing. There's not a lot of talking sometimes, and sometimes there's a lot of talking. But socialization itself has changed through all this quarantine. And also technology has changed it. It's for them, it's less of a sudden change. For them, it's been slowly coming more and more. But depending on where your child is. So we had a 3 and 4-year-old the other day do a play date, and it was the funnest thing to watch. And it was just, one had autism and one did not. And the supervisor just decided to bring her kid in just to see how it would work. And, asked the parent for permission, got them online. It wasn't Legos, but they were playing with some other toy that was similar. They didn't have the same toy, but they had them come in. They put the iPads next to each other so that they could see each other. And the therapist that was with our ASD kiddo was prompting him to show and to make a conversation, just be able to do. He had very minimal language, but there's a ton of things that kids can parallel play. That's actually a developmental milestone, is to parallel play next to each other. And initially it was just to show him that the other kid was on the screen and they're both playing. And then at some point it got to just the showing, just look at my, whatever it is, and being able to show it, and the other one getting really excited. And, the typical kid was like, oh my goodness, that's so great. I love that. And telling him, and our ASD kid was just like, this is amazing. I've never, he couldn't believe it. And, but it was so reinforcing for him just to get that feedback from a peer, really. But he was learning, and he started just trying to show things. And the other kid was perfect because he was just responding and giving him a ton of attention. And that was incredible to see. And then you get to the level of where they're able to talk and they do some exchanges over learning how to respond to people who are talking to them, or they're home and just being able to show, want to see my room, want to see my kitchen, getting them, that type of information. And there's a lot of social skills that you can still work on. Yes, it's not like what we think typically of what we thought about socialization in school. But the thing is, right now, we're in a different type of environment. And the need to be social is, my extrovert friends are going crazy. But they're all figuring it out, and they're all figuring it out through the web. They do FaceTime, they do Zoom, they call people, they interact, they create games online. I'm watching some 9-year-olds do a Zoom party for the birthday, and the parents were really organized and basically contacted all the parents and said, we're going to drop off a little package of one is makeup for little 9-year-old girls. And we're going to get on and give it to the child when they sign on, and they sign in, and they're all experimenting with makeup, lip gloss and just little things. And they're able to have those exchanges and, be together and pretty happy about it, So it's the same way where it's let's look at the level of a skill that your child has. Let's find those people out there, make sure they're interactive. And it doesn't always have to be a peer. It can be all the parents, grandparents, neighbors, there's a lot of opportunity. You just kind of have to think differently. And it takes some the strange thing that I found for myself is that I've been helping parents talk to neighbors like peers, the parents of peers, to tell them like, no, we're trying to work on socialization, but you know what, your kid wants to be social too. So this is going to help you too, because they want to see their friends too. So, like trying to convince them to like schedule a play date in that way. It takes a little bit more convincing for the person that you're trying to tap to play with. And, our patient, we want to increase, we're working on this. So, parents are usually totally like into it, but it's more of like the family members, the cousins or somebody else, and trying to get them onto the page of this is how you can socially interact through, through Zoom or some other way. But there's a lot now. There's a new app I saw called Marco Polo. It's video chatting. You video and it stays on, the other person has the app, and like my niece actually sent it to me. She wanted to tell me how she was doing, but she actually is really sick right now. So she actually she's like, I can't text, I'm gonna video you, load this app. And so she actually told me how she was doing, and then whoever has the app it goes to, you can go on and you watch it, and then you can respond with a video. And so it just keeps it there. So it's like you're talking back and forth, but you do it when you have time. And so there's just all these different ways right now that you can be social. So I hope that helps.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right? And we have great necessity right now. And there's a lot of people who feel the need to be social. And it's not just our kids. And this is one of the things that we have to remember, is that our kids, not all of them, but our kids tend to be a little bit more interested in technology than they are in people. Right? Not all of them, but some of them. And so in a way, I'm looking at it this way. Everybody's having to learn how to communicate via this modality. And we've all already been doing this for 4 months, and it looks like it's going to be continuing for quite some time. And then even after this phase of things is over, people are still going to be doing this for a while. So please, I know a lot of parents were like, but this isn't natural. This isn't normal. This is going to be the kids' new normal. They're going to take this period of time, and they're going to create things based on this. This generation of kids is going to be more in tune to this. So don't avoid this with your kids. Like I would run headlong into it. I know they're like, oh, my kid's already on screen time enough. But as I'm talking to parents of kids that have teenagers, the problem that they're telling me, they'll say, well, I'm worried about socialization, and I'm worried about, because all he does is spend time on his computer. But then when I ask them, what is he doing on the computer? They're telling me, well, he's playing a game with his friend. And I'm just encouraging parents, if you've got those kids, go play the game too, so that you can see what they're playing and how they're playing to make sure that it's all appropriate. But I think you'll feel better because they are socializing. Even, a lot of them are telling me they're playing Roblox. Even older kids are playing Minecraft again, because they can play as a group and they can do things together. So, and that's not a bad thing. That's still socialization. What were you going to say, Evelyn?
I was going to say, like, even I have a kid who finished when she was 5, and I think she's almost 30 now. And when she was a teenager, her mom would say, like, she's pretty good, but she just has little things, like she laughs a little longer than other people do, or she'll go into a little bit more detail than, other people. But for the most part, she has friends. And her mom actually, at this point, and this is more than 10 years ago, but technology, when instant messaging was the way that our kids, that was their video or their online chatting, she said that her daughter would just keep her instant message open, and she knew how to chat back and forth. And that really is how she actually established friendships with her friends at school. And then so when she was in school and she would just laugh a little longer or say things a little bit too much that was just a little odd, they were totally okay with it, because their friendship was established more on how appropriate she was with the instant messaging. So they knew her, and they knew all these things about her in that format. So then it didn't really matter anymore, and so it's something that's been slowly coming. And talk about systematic desensitization. I think for all these teens, that's those 20-somethings, they've slowly become more and more interactive as technology has developed. And now, my nephew actually is doing an internship at a school on the East Coast, and all his friends are gone because the school vacated, right? Everyone went online. So he's living in an apartment by himself in a dorm with nobody there. Like, there's hardly anybody there. And I was like, are you okay? Like, where are your friends? And he was like, oh, it's no big deal. I just get online and we play games together.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things out there, but if you look at what the neurotypical kids and the neurotypical people are doing, they're struggling with this too. But I think again, not all of our kids, once you put them onto this kind of thing, it seems like to me, they catch on to this faster. So we'll take our pluses whenever we can take them. But there are all kinds of things. On Friday, we're having Cindy Kenya from the Wilgear Theatricum Botanicum joining us. And she's going to be talking about some of the online classes that they have that may or may not be appropriate for some members of the autism community. But we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the online camps and classes that are being done across the country. This summer, more than any other summer, you guys, it used to be that we would feature stuff on the show and we would show you, for instance, the Miracle Project or the classes that they were doing at the Ed Asner Family Center. And you guys would say, well, that's all lovely, but I don't live in Los Angeles, right? Well, this summer, they're all available to you no matter where you live. And some of them are free. All of the classes that they're doing at the Ed Asner Center, and there's at least one every day, free. Including there is a movie chat for teens and young adults on Saturday nights. They announced the movie that they're going to play on Mondays. Well, it's not they're going to play it because that's copyright. You have to watch it on your own. So they announced the movie on Monday. You watch the movie on your own and you show up on Saturday and you're on Zoom. And the facilitator for it is a young woman who's on the spectrum who is amazing, Chelsea Darnell. And I hear that it's like the most incredible time and it's all this social and people are making friends and they're making friends with people in their community and friends across the world. So there's all kinds of things available. So I would lean into that. Yeah.
I have a new thing that I just heard about, and it was online. And for some of you parents that have, if you really, really want that social interaction, this is the time where you can go through and, because everybody's looking for this for their kids, but I've had a family create a camp in their backyard. So what they did was they found a family that they trusted. They created a pod, and they actually hired like one of the teenagers, and they had the kids. They made up a camp that's only like, I think it's 2 hours, 2 times a week or something, and they named it like camp whatever it was. And they actually take turns creating, doing kind of camp in their backyard with this pod of kids. And so if you really feel like you really need that and you have the ability, that it's an awesome opportunity to create social interaction. And the thing is, for our kids with ASD, 1 or 2 hours is perfect because it's just a little, enough to get the interaction, but not to kind of go overboard. And depending on your child, it might just be 1 hour, it might be 30 minutes. But since all the families out there are looking for this kind of interaction right now, a lot of people will be open to this kind of idea.
Yeah, and I think that this is really going to be how everybody starts to move as we get closer to the fall. It's what they're talking about doing in schools is creating pods. The trick is that you got to find people who have the same comfortable meter that you have. Because what's comfortable for me is not like I would love to create a pod but nobody is as paranoid as I am. Everybody wants to be in my pod because they're like, Shannon, we know you guys are safe because you haven't gone anywhere and you wipe everything down with hydrogen peroxide. So everybody wants to be in my pod. And I'm like, no, I can't be in your pod. You go places. I'm not going places. I don't want your pod. But if you can find people that have the same level of comfortable, especially if they have kids that your kids enjoy playing with, because you're going to want to do that for the holidays. Some people already did that with the 4th of July. Some people did it and weren't thinking about that. and it didn't end well for them. Well, for Memorial Day, we have already seen that. But so be mindful when you're picking your pod. Make sure that it's like a social contract. Like what are you doing? What are you not doing? What risks are you taking? What risks are you not taking?
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.